Always a pleasure to welcome in and speak with this man. I always enjoy our conversations. Stock market machine at the moment, as you might see on the social media, and a guy who's obviously, we're looking forward to seeing him back in there, and we'll talk about that in a second. But he's also fought Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier, so he knows exactly what we're going to see, I believe, this Saturday night at UFC 257. It is the Underground King, Eddie Alvarez. Eddie, first of all, my friend, we got to ask, how are you and your family? Is everyone safe in Philly? What's been going on, my friend?
Well, we've been blessed, man. I'm like personally, from my point of view, we've been blessed. We moved outside of Philadelphia a couple of years back into a suburb. So really cool town, a wrestling town, really good schools and things like that. So we've been crazy blessed, me and my family. We've been enjoying quarantine. I've been fighting 17 years and I haven't went a year without a promoter asking me to fight in a long time. So it was a blessing for me.
Yeah, nice to have a bit of time off, I'm sure, with your family, downtime, not away out in Asia, obviously with one championship. A bit of time to rejuvenate as well, maybe?
Yeah, it's hard to find out who you are outside of fighting. I fought since I was 19 years old, probably on average 2 and 3, 4 times a year, depending on the year. And it's hard to find out who you are outside of being a fighter. So it was definitely, it was good to feel that, good to hang with my family and do purely family things and know in the back of my head that no one's going to call me and tell me, hey, what about this? What about the fight here, fight there? I just kind of relax and put things at ease.
Eddie, what is the situation with you at the moment? Obviously, we exchanged a few texts a number of months ago. I think it was when Khabib was fighting Dustin Poirier, and you said you were good to go in January. You looked like someone was going to get booked with one fighting championship. What is the situation? When are we going to see you back in there?
Yeah, so we were going to be scheduled for end of February, and that got pushed back. There was like another strand of something that came in Europe or something like that. And I believe the Singapore government was just trying to get things underway. And I think we're going to be pushed about like end of March, beginning of April. We're going to have a date probably beginning of April, and get back in the circle then with one championship.
Good stuff. Was there any conversations in your mind? Obviously, you've told us there, you've enjoyed the year off. You didn't have anyone sort of calling you. Was there ever in your mind that, maybe you might have pushed for a one-fight exemption? Was that, on the table, possibly in that contract with one championship?
An exemption in what ways?
To fight for a different promotion. Was there ever sort of a thought in your head, maybe with the pandemic, that they might do that or they might offer you that?
So I didn't think about fighting for a different promotion. I thought about the idea of having a one championship fight here in America.
Okay.
That I was trying to bring up more and more, but I knew I was that was going to be a lot to ask for, a tough reach. But that was more on my mind than fighting for anyone else. I enjoy one. I'm really happy with one. So I don't. It wasn't more of a promotion other than, hey, can I just fight where I'm at, somewhere around here? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Any news on an opponent?
Nothing yet. No. I'm hoping, and I believe it's going to be one of the top contenders, and then be dominant, and then a title fight. That's what I'm guessing.
Definitely looking forward to seeing you back in there. Eddie, we got to get your thoughts on what's going on this week, and obviously a huge fight in the world of mixed martial arts this weekend at UFC 257 between, as we said, guys, you've been in there with obviously Dustin Poirier twice and Conor McGregor. First of all, this fight on paper, a lot has changed obviously since Conor and Dustin first fought a number of years ago. Just your thoughts on this fight off the bat. Are you excited for it as an onlooker?
Yeah, I'm super excited because I feel like Dustin's a guy who's been in the game forever, and I feel like he's got his break. He's beat some of the best guys in the world. I mean, he's beat me, including myself. And I feel like he just hasn't broke out like the way he should have. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he hasn't had that one particular fight yet, like on a large stage to say, I'm Dustin Poirier and this is what I do. So, and he's been around the game for so damn long. So he deserves that. He needs that for himself. And then this is the opportunity here with Conor to be on that big stage and to show up on that big stage big, you know.
Why do you think that is? That maybe, you know, you look at the last fight against Khabib and that he had in terms of a title attempt, and he looked like a little bit like he got caught in the headlights a little bit. Do you think it's maybe his mentality? You know, a lot of people have sort of said that about Dustin when it comes to the very, very, very top level, that sometimes he maybe falls and doesn't have his mind in the right place going into fight week.
I think that when you get to the top level of competition, most guys become dominant wrestlers, right? So, like, almost at the top of every division, the top 3 guys, 1 or 2 of them are going to be dominant wrestlers who've been fighting their whole life, grappling their whole life. And if that's a hole of yours that you never truly filled, then I think it's going to be hard to be consistently successful at a high level at the top if you didn't fill that hole. So you're always going to get kind of caught up against them big grapplers. So that could be a reason why.
Dustin talked this week in an interview he did with the UFC that he wants to sort of try and take this into a dogfight. You've obviously been in there with Conor before. Do you think that's just maybe something he's saying in order to maybe disguise what he's actually going to try and do? Do you think possibly we might see some wrestling for Dustin Poirier in this fight? Because obviously when he's tried to stand with Conor the last time, it didn't go his way. Do you think he's going to try and implement something different and surprise Conor McGregor on Saturday night?
I don't, and this is just my opinion, my personal opinion. This won't be a wrestling fight. Like, when I envision the fight itself, we're all going to see a boxing fight with 4-ounce gloves. I don't believe Dustin can get Conor to the ground. I don't think he has the wrestling chops to out-wrestle Conor. Nor do I. I think when you look at jiu-jitsu, I think they're probably even there. You know, I don't think either one guy is significantly better in jiu-jitsu than the other one, where they can exploit that weakness. And I don't think wrestling-wise, if anything, I feel like I don't think Conor's going to shoot, but if I think they had a wrestling match, purely wrestling, I think Conor would win the wrestling match.
Yeah.
So I do.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I don't think Dustin is that dominant of a wrestler. I don't think he's going to have the confidence to go after Conor with a wrestling strategy and think that he can get it done there. I don't think he can. I don't think he can. I don't think he can be dominant against Conor wrestling. No.
Well, then in terms of, you know, striking and obviously you as we said, we know you've been in there. So who is a harder puzzle when they're coming at you and they're throwing their combinations and their fists? Who's better on their feet technically, and what would you say for someone who's looking onto the fight to expect on Saturday night in terms of a stand-up style?
So if they box, Conor wins, right? So if they box, Conor wins almost every time. Like, let's just take everything out, because it won't wrestle. More than likely, there won't be any wrestling. More than likely, there won't be any jiu-jitsu. If we just said these two were going to box, I would say almost every time that Conor wins the fight. Here's how Dustin can win. And here's the strategy that I would like if I was in his corner and I was by his side. If he was my teammate, I feel like this is the strategy he should imply in order to have the best outcome of winning.
Yeah.
He needs to create sprints inside there where they're on the maybe they're on the outside and maybe they're playing the way Conor plays. And he needs to go for broke and create small 20-second sprints where he could create panic in Conor, where he just fights him on the inside, stays out from the outside game where Conor could be creative and not cause any panic. He needs to create panic inside there, and the only way to do that is to get beyond boxing range and get into brawl and fighting range. And I would push Dustin to kind of create 20-second sprints and intervals on Conor to create that panic, to continue to create that panic, get his heart rate up, and force him to make mistakes that he wouldn't normally make if you stayed on the outside.
Right. In comparison to who throws and hits harder, can you give us sort of a sense of what it's like to take a left from Conor McGregor and to obviously, is Dustin more accumulation of shots and maybe a little bit less power? Is that how it felt for you being in there with both of them?
I think that they both have their strengths in separate places. Conor's looking to be more precise and accurate and use his timing. He's not looking to pull from his right hip and take your head off. Like, you're not going to see that from him. Everything is based on timing and accuracy with Conor, and the speed that he does it at. Dustin's more blood and guts, where he's coming after you. He's going to pull from his hip. He's going to try to take your head off. So they both hit really hard, but they have different strategies about going to do it. So they both have knockout power and have the ability to knock the other one out. Like, people are foolish if they think Dustin can't knock Conor out, and vice versa. I mean, Conor's already done it, but it's just hard for me to envision this fight other than looking like a boxing fight. Guys just go to where they're comfortable in big events. The bigger the event, the more likely that both competitors are going to just go to where they're most comfortable. And I could just see this being a boxing fight with 4-ounce gloves. And if Dustin can create sprints, create a 20-second sprint, relax, create another 20-second sprint, maybe put a 30-second sprint on him, and just create panic and get Conor tired, then it's more likely Conor's going to make that mistake.
So Eddie, what's the ultimate outcome of the fight then on Saturday night? You know, who's going to get this win between Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor?
I just think the motivation for Conor's a lot greater. You know what I mean? He has a lot more on the line. This is going to be Dustin's largest fight of his career, largest payday, and he's earned his keep. He's fought the best in the world, but I just think there's more motivation and more on the line for Conor, and I feel like he gets it done. He gets it done this week.
Do you think he finishes him within the distance?
Yeah, I don't see it going to distance. I don't see the fight going to distance. Okay. And I think, in fact, if we get past the third round, and we get into the fourth, and Dustin starts creating them sprints, I think it's more going to lean toward Dustin. So yeah. I don't think it can go the distance, or Conor's chances decrease significantly.
What did you make? This is interesting. Now, what did you make of Dana White came out with this announcement that we learned sort of nothing new? Do you believe that when what he said that Khabib has said in terms of one of these guys has to do something spectacular, that we're actually going to see potentially that rematch between Conor and Khabib, or Dustin and Khabib? Do you think it's as plain cut and as plain sailing as that?
I just think that was about. I think Conor would have wanted the belt for this fight to be on the line. He likes the idea of the belts, so I think he wanted the belt, and typically he gets what he wants as long as there's an availability. Dana can't say no to him, so Dana definitely needed to create a situation where he just couldn't put the belt on the line. And that was the best way, is to say, sorry, there's no belt available. It's already taken, so that was the best way to do it, is just hold it out until that, a little funny announcement or whatever. But I think he's retired. I just don't see. You
don't see him coming back?
No, and not to fight Conor. I think that fight is what it is. I don't think it changes. I don't think this fight changes. I think I think Conor kind of beats Dustin the way he did last time. The style matchup just kind of calls for it, and the style matchup for Khabib and Conor is the same. I feel like it's the same fight. I don't know why we got to do it again. You
So
know?
you don't think a 2016 version of Conor McGregor would defeat Khabib Nurmagomedov? No.
No, there's so much time that needs to be made up in grappling. You know what I mean? And you can't force that on someone. Like it's a lifetime of grappling versus a guy who's trying to prepare for a lifetime grappler. It's almost it can happen. I mean, I have an imagination. It can happen,
Mm.
but the odds. I'm speaking purely from like probability and fighting.
Definitely. Okay, yeah, I think we're all looking forward. And I got to ask you about someone else. You've had a couple of run-ins with him in the past. Two of the greatest fights I've ever seen against Michael Chandler. He makes his UFC bow this weekend. First of all, I want to get your thoughts on that. You know, a lot of people have sort of said he's coming in with, you know, there's been too much hype given him, too much spotlight compared to what the UFC maybe have at the top of that division. Do you feel the hype around Michael Chandler has been justified coming into this fight on Saturday night?
No, I'm surprised about the amount of attention they're giving him. I am because he's new, right? Nobody's seen him fight yet. He hasn't proved himself yet, but it seems like there's his management and him are doing a great job creating some buzz. So, hats off to them. It's hard to join the UFC and have your name out there like that. You know what I mean? But that division is like screaming for a new dominant guy. So the timing works out perfect for him.
Well, why do you think that is now is the timing? Because I sort of I agree with you, you know, to a certain extent that, you know, maybe the Chandler we saw against you in those days, it would have been great to see maybe a couple more fights like what you did and then go into the UFC. Is it maybe a little bit too much now to go in and sort of negate through those top 5, 6 guys and actually make a push for the title? Because I agree with you. I just don't really see it happening. Even on Saturday night, I think Dan Hooker's going to have a little bit too much from him and maybe even overwhelm him a little bit.
Yeah, if he got to take the fight to the ground because I think against a guy like Hooker, with that kind of range and that kind of striking disadvantage, um, Chandler he has the ability to knock anyone out. But if uh, if Hooker starts to become offensive and really turn on his offense, Mike Chandler's not very good defensively striking. Like he usually takes a lot of damage if someone starts being offensive against him. So that being said, if he takes Hooker down, he can completely dominate him like on the ground.
Mm,
Like Chandler's fucking super
yeah.
strong, and there's nothing Hooker's going to be able to do on the ground to deal with Mike Chandler. So I just think Mike needs to get it to the ground and be dominant where he knows he can be, and not play that striking game. The more he wrestles, the worse Dan Hooker's striking will become. You know what I mean? So when if he wrestles him and wrestles him and wrestles him, when Hooker gets back to his feet, he's not nearly the striker he normally is. So he's just got to take him down and flatten his tires a little bit. That way he's not dealing with the same kind of striker, high level striker.
Do you think he can make a run for the title this year, Michael Chandler? Is it possible?
I like I like his style. I like his style. I like a lot of the style matchups for him. Um, they're better guys, but like right now, when you look at everybody who's involved in the top five, he has a lot of really good style matchups for him.
Yeah.
Um, I think he can beat Dustin. I think he can beat Hooker as long as he gets him to the floor and beats him up and flattens his tires. I think he could do the same thing to Dustin. He has the ability to do that. He has the tools to beat a lot of the top five guys. It's just a matter of him going out there and putting it on them. But yeah, it's going to be an uphill climb. that top 5 in the lightweight division is always. I mean, it's a fucking meat grinder, man. It is a meat grinder. I mean, I've been through it.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's fucking savage, man. Let's just say it how it is. Listen, you know what I want to see? I've been saying this for a while now since Michael Chandler got signed. I would love to see Eddie Alvarez return to the UFC in 2021 and finally do that rubber match with Michael Chandler. Is there any possibility that we'd ever see that? No.
I'm I'm fixated. My mindset on. Look, I've been all over the world. I fought everyone. If you were a champion in a promotion, I was probably coming after you at some point. And I'm fixated on winning the one championship world title. And I believe I do that this year. I believe I get that done this year. And that would set a historical record that probably may never be broken. You would have to.
It'll be added to the caption there, Eddie. See the caption: former Bellator and UFC lightweight champion.
Yeah, you'd have to fight for 20 years and be as crazy as me, and that go to a promotion, win their belt, leave, and so, like you'd have to do a lot of crazy things that are unconventional in order to break the record. So,
man, I'd love to see it, and I got to ask you one more. You know, who do you think then with Khabib retired? Who's going to be the UFC world lightweight champion? You know, in a couple of months' time. You know, what do you think the UFC are going to do with the title and the belt?
Oh, that's a great question. They're not going to look. I wouldn't be surprised if they let Khabib sit with that for a lot longer than any one of us would, because as long as he's champion, there's a potential of hundreds of millions of dollars for the UFC. So they're going to let him sit with it a lot longer time than they would someone like Dustin Poirier, Tony Ferguson, or even myself. They're going to let him sit with it and really contemplate him wanting to come back and fight a big fight. So 2021 UFC lightweight champion is going to be
it's a tough one. Who?
I didn't say.
Oh, you didn't say. Sorry, I thought I missed it. You can't even think. Look, it is tough.
It is.
McGregor, Poirier, Hooker, Chandler, Ferguson, Felder.
No, none of them. None of the other ones. The only way I would say Conor is because he typically gets what he wants out of the UFC, right? So
true.
He'll put himself in line for a title, and they'll do it because that's him. But I don't see the other guys being able to get it done. You know what I mean? Being able to get that belt.
Okay.
But we'll see. That's the beauty of MMA. None of us know, right now. None of us know what the fuck we're talking about.
None of us. We're all fucking bullshitters, especially us lot behind the camera. We're the biggest bullshitters of them all. But listen, any tips for me on the stock market, Eddie? Man, I'm seeing all these tweets and shit, and I'm not getting any love. What's going on? You know, what's going on with Bitcoin and shit? Like, where is the money to be made?
Oh, sorry. So I've been in quarantine. I've been having loads of fun, and I think they're March when the market dropped. I've been doing stocks for years. And when the market dropped in March, I had a load of money in the bank, so I put a good deal in. But since March, I've been up like $400,000 in the stock market, and we've been having a really, really good run. And I just learned a lot through it. I took the time to study, to kind of get together with old friends of mine who owned hedge funds, and they just kind of training me and helping me. So there's some good ones out there. It's all about timing. You know, you want to get in when the time's good. Right now, big tech took a big pullback, like Apple, Amazon, Facebook. They pulled back a decent amount, and I feel like with the new people who are going to be in office, I feel like they owe big tech big time for the win. So buying some Apple and Facebook and that stuff and sitting on it for the next 24 months, you'll be able to make some money there for sure.
Yeah.
And
they can't keep censoring people. That was a lot.
No, I'm not saying I agree with what they do. We're talking money now. I don't agree with what they do, but I know if the stock's this much and it's going to go up, then I'm obligated to tell you how to make some money.
I appreciate it because I'm broke. I'm a broke ass at the moment in this current pandemic. Listen, my man, always appreciate the time. Massively looking forward to seeing you getting back in there, and hopefully that trip to Ireland you were speaking about with myself and Pete the last time will come to fruition sometime at the end of this year. Appreciate it, Eddie. Always a pleasure.
My buddy Ray Coleman, I think, is coming in August sometime. So I was thinking about maybe I'll head with them. Maybe August.
Definitely. Look forward to it, man. Appreciate the time as always. Looking forward to seeing you back in there. Thanks, Eddie.
I'll see you.
Hello, guys. If you want to hear more of The Bash, you can subscribe to us on all our wonderful channels on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and all that other shit.
And click the links below. Click the links below. The notification button. It comes straight to your phone if we've any fresh content. And also hit the subscribe button. It does help. You're some plonker.
It's very serious.